And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Jets at Noon. Jim Toth, Kelly Moore with you. And of course, we're coming to you from the Boston Pizza Studio. For gourmet pizza and pasta, bring the team to Boston Pizza. And Jim Toth, I have great news. You know what the great news is?
I love great news.
We are back to giving away gift certificates for car wash method car wash.
Wash method!
Well, car wash gift certificates from
VIP
Wash
ones.
Method Car Wash.
They are VIP ones too, Kelly.
I did not check with Jeff Forte on that.
Those
690 St. Anne's Road and at washmethod.com. Jeff Forte, are they VIP gift certificates?
They are.
Woo!
Yes, and romance. Forte romance. You like romance?
I love romance.
They are Victor Indigo Petroleums, baby. VIPs.
Woo! I tried to go to Wash Method yesterday, but they had a rain day maintenance day.
Okay.
So today is the day to go because they're all
That's why you weren't here yesterday, because you just had to get your car washed?
I love going to Wash Method so much, I take the day off to go.
Anyway, Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. You can also find them at washmethod.com. All right, 15 years ago today, James Toth, where were you, and do you remember the significance of the day? If you don't, not to worry, because I can help share some of those memories.
It's now my pleasure to introduce our Executive Vice President and General Manager, Mr. Kevin Scheifele, who will make our first pick on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets.
First of all, I'd like to say hello to all our great fans in Winnipeg at the MTS Center. St. John's, Newfoundland, our affiliate in the American Hockey League, and the great fans that have made it all the way here to Minneapolis. The Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from the Barrie Coats of the Ontario Hockey League, Mark Scheifele. Wow.
All right, so a couple things to clarify there. The fans were not booing because of Kevin Scheifele or in anticipation of the announcement. They were booing Minnesota, which has continued on for 15 years. Just the subtle way in which Mark Chipman revealed at that very moment that the 2.0 version of the franchise were indeed going to be the Winnipeg Jets. And then Gord Miller of TSN with his wow at the end of it, because Mark Scheifele was not rated to go that high. And certainly, as history has taught us, Jim Toth, Mark Scheifele has been everything that the Winnipeg Jets thought he would be, and probably a little bit more with that 7th overall and first ever first-round selection.
Well, there's a couple of things that stand out to me on that, Kelly, other than this fact that I'm getting a little old. But I remember that day, and I remember I was, prior to moving over to CJOB in September, I was still at Shaw TV, and we were doing a Gold Eyes game. And it was myself and Ken Wiebe about to do a broadcast where we were watching there was a 7 o'clock first pitch, and we were in our pregame show and just getting ready watching the draft. And then when it wasn't Couture, it was Scheifele. I remember Ken Wiebe saying, that's not a bad pick. He's a good player, but everybody thought it should have been Couture, right? And then as the time went on, and I think his nickname was Bambi Legs because he couldn't stay on his feet, which, and then Couture won a Selke, and everybody was, but that debate ended real quick. And I think it was around the time in 2015-16 when he got 61 points, and then the following year, 82 points in 79 games. And since then, he's essentially been a point per game or better player throughout the rest of his career. So drafted in 2011, he played 7 games and had 1 goal, went back to Barrie, he had 79 points in 45 games. And then he came and played 4 games at the end of the season. And then his rookie year of 2013-14, 63 games, 34 points, 13 goals. And the rest is history.
That was where he got hurt. Paul Maurice had taken over at that time. Remember, he got hurt just before the deadline. There was no way that maybe it was just after the deadline, because there was no way that they could compensate for that loss, and it really put a damper on the rest of that year.
And then the next year, he played 82 games. He had 15 goals and 49 points, and that was the year they made the playoffs for the first time.
Yeah.
And he had 1 assist in 4 games against Anaheim, and I believe that was the summer that they evaluated and said, much like this summer, wow, the league got a lot faster, and so we have to get faster. And then they kind of changed their ways, missed the playoffs the next 2 seasons. But Mark had 61 points in 71 games, 29 goals.
Yeah.
And then in 2016-17, he had 82 points, 32 goals. And the following year is when they went to the Western Conference Final, where he had 14 goals in the playoffs, Kelly.
Yeah.
And 20 points in 17 games.
Slowed down a little bit against Vegas, but boy, I tell you, those first 2 rounds against Minnesota and the Nashville Predators were really something. So 204-780-6868 is the text line. Whether you want to share your memories of Mark Scheifele being drafted 15 years ago. Texter, I think it's Gerald. Hey, fellas, I'm hearing can the Winnipeg Jets survive in the new NHL chatter again on podcasts? That would be absolutely devastating to the city. Hard to listen to. Thoughts? Well, a lot of things get discussed on podcasts. I don't know how much merit there is. I think it's going to be more difficult. If I'm going to be completely honest here, I think it's going to be very difficult, at least with what we're seeing, for teams other than the Super 5 or Super 6 to have an honest-to-goodness chance at winning the Stanley Cup. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm just saying that door of 10 or 12 teams maybe competing for the Cup, I don't know that that's going to continue, and I'd be lying if I said the Winnipeg Jets were one of the Super 6. That doesn't mean you can't survive in the National Hockey League. It doesn't mean you could still have an entertaining team that's a lot of fun to watch, and at least has a chance to get into the playoffs, and who knows then when you get there. Stranger things have happened. But as far as Winnipeg not being able to stay in the National Hockey League, I think that would be a little premature for any of those kind of conversations.
Yeah, I don't think the National Hockey League is talking about expansion into one of the 2 cities in Texas if they thought one of their franchises might be moving or not doing well. I think Winnipeg Jets will survive, but the question is, can they win? And I'm with you, Kelly.
Yes.
I think the parameters around them winning have become much more difficult. The salary cap is going up. I don't think we have the market to be a cap team if it goes
and
up
you're
to
getting star players
30s.
that are taking more and more control of their destinies.
And star players just, wanting to not be here around.
Not just here. We always say Winnipeg. It's not just in Winnipeg.
But we're talking about the Jets, so
yes,
not
for
here,
sure.
sure. And then the other part I want to bring up is the fact that, not a lot of people, Carolina was in and around a Stanley Cup prediction, but they weren't expected to get, as far as they did and win a cup.
Yeah, they're not seen as a destination, are they?
They don't have a superstar player or 2 like a Connor McDavid or a Nikita Kucherov or those players. I look at how Montreal looks. And for Ryan and all the Habs fans out there, I hate to say this, but I like the way Montreal was built.
Why do you hate to say it? We're covering the National Hockey.
Yeah, because I can't stand the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, but we're professional journalists, so we're not going to. We cover the National Hockey League.
No, I hate them. I hate them. I hope they get relegated. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding when I say I hate them and all that stuff. I'm joking around with our friend Ryan who calls in and his dad and everybody. But that's how you're going to have to build a winner, right?
Yeah.
Is through the draft, through some trades. You don't have a bona fide number 1 superstar making $17, $18 million. That's what the Jets have to do.
Yeah.
And that's why this draft is interesting. And the ground covered since Connor Hellebuyck said that on exit day and to where we are now has clearly changed. There's a lot of people, if Connor Hellebuyck is traded, is going to call this show and go, you said they should never trade him and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But we have to remember in the past 2 months, this storyline has changed immensely.
Yes, it has.
It has changed from somebody going, I want to win here, but I'm unhappy with the way the season went, to clearly somebody saying, I'm not asking for a trade, but if you want to move me, I'm okay with it. And then the phone ringing to the point where Kevin Cheveldayoff has to go, I've got 3 glaring holes and probably some minor ones. And if I can fix 2 to 3 of those glaring ones or 2 of the glaring ones and a couple of minor ones, I have to look at it.
Yeah.
So that's the distance traveled in the past 2 months. But that being said to the texter, I think it's going to be more difficult than ever because of the cap and the money that's available. But You have to do it how Carolina did it. You have to do it how the Jets went to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah.
You draft, you keep.
Yeah.
That's why this draft is really interesting.
Daryl says, be careful what you wish for. I think trading Hellebuyck is a big mistake. Huge. Look at the term and the price the Jets have him for. This is one of the best goalies in the world. He'll never be replaced. All of that, Daryl, I don't know that anybody would disagree with you. I certainly would not. But if you have a scenario that Jim just described where you have what's the word I'm looking for? An amenable agreement that you have to at least take a look at what could be had in going forward, then that's going to happen. And if the Jets can make themselves a better team as a result of that, it's certainly something that has to be considered. But I've already gone on record as saying I think that if the Winnipeg Jets ever trade Connor Hellebuyck, that it will be something that will come back to haunt them. That's just my opinion. Whether that comes true or not, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that if the Winnipeg Jets do trade Connor Hellebuyck, that it works out well for them and it works out for Hellebuyck and everybody goes their merry way. Those are I think, the best trades. But it is a huge risk whenever you are dealing with a player that is deemed to be the very best at his particular position.
And so to my point, I agree with you, Kelly. And my point is I don't think there's a deal out there that you win for Connor Hellebuyck right now, given the $8.5 million, the length of the contract that's left, and just how good he's still playing. And the reason I say this, Darren Dreger reported yesterday, obviously there's a ton of interest, but at this point, anybody interested has to really ante up the ante because there's nothing there that Kevin Scheifele. So I think the offers are something that fixes a hole.
Yeah, but not enough.
Not all of the holes.
For sure.
And you want to sort of fill more than one or two. I almost did a Paul Maurice there with the a-hole.
Yeah, you
Remember
did.
that quote?
Yes, indeed.
So unless somebody does, then I think you seriously have to consider it. But as of right now, I don't think it's happening because I think the teams that would desperately want him to win a cup would have to give up too much that would affect them elsewhere.
Brad says, I'm hoping the 8th pick is kept it away. It's all we have for Ehlers, who the Canes thought they could win a cup with. The Jets did not. Oh, I see what you mean, because they finished as low as they did in the standings. Okay. Just takes a minute or me. Sometimes you have to spell it out to me. Canes thought they could win a cup with Smart. I think if the Jets matched the Canes offer, he would have stayed, even if Jim insinuates he would not have. Jim's not alone in that, Brad. I think Nick wanted to go, and unless you know for sure that the Jets did not match what the Carolina Hurricanes were offering, because everything I have heard indicates that the offers were very close, but Carolina looked at Nikolai Ehlers in a different light than the Jets had for 10 years, and I think that was the big difference. Daryl also says the Jets have been set back at least 3 years by not keeping Ehlers, so need to start retooling through the draft. Love to see Chevy hit a home run sending Hellebuyck to Buffalo, and that's from Brad.
Yeah, again, if you can, and look, if there was a time to trade him, when Bolin Bryam gets that kind of a haul, and Jordan Greenway, of course, I think you have to look at it. If those but apparently that's not out there. And Tyson Rewicki did this segment about 2.5 weeks ago. He looked through the history of the National Hockey League and goalies being traded, and they're probably they get the least commodity. Like, they're just not a player that, like, there's forwards, and we've seen what Brady Chuck got. We've seen some of the other deals that we're hearing about. We saw what Bolin Bryam got. Apparently, those deals aren't being offered for the goalie. Now, there's lots of interest, but we'll have to see where this goes. But it's a fascinating time. I don't remember a June like this in the National Hockey League.
No, there hasn't been one for a long time. All right. If you want to weigh in on the Boston Pizza hotline, jot down this number, 204-780-6800. And, of course, Boston Pizza is where you can watch Canada make soccer history, maybe even this afternoon at Boston Pizza. Get there. Score the new MVP platter when you watch the big games on the big screens at BP. Jets at Noon continues with more of your tasks in a moment.
Jets at Noon on 680 CJOB.
No howl of protest when I say it shouldn't be any problem at all. Taking 2 out of 3 from Houston. I'm surprised, Toth. I'm surprised.
Disrespect.
All right, Michael wants to know if we know if the Jets were in on the Eklund trade. He would have been a great pick for some middle six help, cost controlled. Maybe they have their eyes on a specific player at number 8 and wanted to hang on to the pick. Michael, William Eklund's a good player, but I think for the Jets' needs, for that number 8 pick, I think you have to identify the 2 specific areas.
Yeah.
Second line center or top 4 defenseman. Then I think third on the list is definitely another top 6 forward, but I don't know that you want to parlay the number 8 pick into that. Does that make sense to you, Jim?
I like him as a player, and I'll be honest with you, when I saw the deal,
I don't know whether the Jets were in on William Eklund. I'm an NHL outsider.
I have no idea either, but I did, when the trade went down, I did go, oh, that would have been a nice fit for the Jets' top 6, but I also agree with you. I think if you're moving the 8th pick, you've got to address your second line center position.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Looking more like it'll be tough to improve via trade with the prices being high, available pool getting smaller. Do you think Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand are realistic options with their mix of skill and ability to play in the top 6? Bjorkstrand didn't spend a lot of time in the lineup for Tampa Bay during the playoffs, so I wonder a little bit about him.
I think those are players that they're going to have to circle around, right?
After July 1st.
Yeah, I think those are guys that, they would like to be in on the big game hunting, which I'm sure they're trying. But then as the dust settles, I think those are the kind of players you kind of would look at if you haven't filled those holes.
All right, we will come back with more of your texts here on Jets at Noon. Noah had me at Ella. And then he added Langley, and it was just a done deal. So we're walking you back to...
He did.
Yeah, you don't even know who Ella Langley is.
I do know.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
What, you take time out from Rat and all the rest of that?
Yes, I do. I went to Sebastian Bach, but I know...
okay.
I bet you like her, Kelly Moore. I bet you do.
There's hope for you yet, Toth. Hey, I'll tell you what, we welcome you back to Jets at Noon. And, of course, we want to thank our great friends at Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road, and at washmethod.com. Coming to you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. And the creative email of the day, as a matter of fact, this just might earn Mary and or Terry. It is. It's going to earn them the VIP car wash because Mary says ROMANCE. Ride over Manitobans, acquire cleaning experiences at 690 St. Anne's Road. As they say, save water, shower with shower, aka wash with a friend.
Nice. And romance.
All right.
There you go.
So
VIP romance right there.
So there you go. Producer Jeff Forche. There's our Wash Method text o' the day for Mary and Terry. 690 never misses a spot. Oh, okay. Let's get back to your text now at 204-780-6868. And I'm thinking, Jim, that this is also the mindset of Kevin Cheveldayoff when it comes to all the phone calls that I can only imagine that he is taking right now on the Connor Hellebuyck front. You have to keep Hellebuyck unless you get a killer deal that you just can't pass on.
Yeah. And for me, a killer deal is, and look, Kevin Cheveldayoff has often made deals that I look at and I'm like, well, like Neil Pionk, Morgan Barron, players like that. And then they pan out, right? Yeah. Like they turn into surprisingly good players from what my knowledge of them were. But
they weren't for the best player.
This is a deal that, and I know, and the text line is filling up with them. Yeah. The 4th overall pick from Buffalo, and Ukko Pekalainen, and this player. Yeah. I don't think that's enough. Like you're going to
but the 4th overall pick, Jim, does, and maybe the 4th overall pick of just UPL might not be enough. But if it's part of a package, then I just have this feeling that the Jets are all in on Carson Karls if they can get him.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Yeah. If you get a goalie in a trade and the 4th overall pick and a player that's going to play, you might be asking too much for the top 6 or top 4, but like
look Kessling, what Chicago gave up for Bowen.
Well, Kessling, the defenseman that went, I would consider that.
Yeah.
But for me, you're going to have to put a roster either on that top 6 wing or top 6 center.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, if you can get the 4th, and maybe you're sending the 8th back,
yeah.
And then you get your player in your top 6.
No, you keep the 8th.
Well, I would think so too, but Kelly, I'm not doing that. If I'm the opposing team, name the team. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you my top 5 pick, a player that's going to play in the top 6, and a goalie to get Connor Hellebuyck.
Well,
because to me, that's Zach Benson, right?
Yes.
So are you going to give
But
them?
I'm not saying you have to do it straight up for Hellebuyck. There could be other
you could throw in another player
in there,
and going back.
But you have to satisfy one of your great needs.
Yes.
In order to trade Connor Hellebuyck. Mark says, in saying that, I don't see that killer deal happening. And he's probably right, Jim, because the ask is going to be very high on Connor Hellebuyck, just like when St. Louis was taking calls on Robert Thomas last spring. No one made the deal because they just couldn't pay the price.
Now he's staying there. And I think that's what's going to happen, Kelly. You mentioned to me today off the air, and you should mention here of how you think the draft plays out with a potential trade. And I'm with you. I think the top 3 picks go, and then they revisit it.
Yeah, if you are the Winnipeg Jets, and I know last night when Buffalo acquired that 4th overall pick, and they could certainly add a real good player, like whether it's Chase Reed or Caleb Malhotra, or if somehow Ivar Stenberg drops down to the number 4 hole, you certainly have to take a look at that. But if I'm the Winnipeg Jets and Carson Karls is the guy that I want, then I wait until the night of the draft. I wait until the first 3 picks are made. If Karls is still on the board, then you go to Buffalo and you make that deal.
Yeah, but you said something that really appeals to me, and I saw you on X last night when that 4th round pick went to Buffalo. If you could pick 4th and 8th, and get a player to come into your top 6, I mean, you're not going to sell 4th and 8th to Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor and all that. But if you get a player back and can have a goaltender as well,
yes,
you can sell that to them.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
But if you just get the 4th and 8th pick and you have to still go out searching and hunting, that means nothing to the rest of the core that's here. But it means everything to this franchise if they could pick 4th and 8th.
Andre says, I want Hellebuyck to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame as a Jet. So I know you use nicknames. I don't use nicknames on the air. It just we have that professional relationship with the players that we must maintain. But certainly I appreciate the usage of nicknames to the fans. I think that's great that you have that kind of an affinity with the players. Tyler says he didn't steal one game last year. He's talking about Connor Hellebuyck here, and let 6 first shots on net last year, and about the same year before. Tyler's not too impressed with Connor Hellebuyck, so maybe he wouldn't even push for as much as what we think Kevin Cheveldayoff's pushing for.
Well, that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about, as you just said, trading one of the elite players at his position in the league right now. I just want to add this too. Paul Hamilton's a reporter in Buffalo, does great work. David Pagnata's on this too. Sabres GM Jarmo Kekalainen has just spoken to reporters about 20 minutes ago. He says it looks like Alex Tuch is going to free agency. They're looking to trade his rights, and I was told a sign-and trade remains possible from Pagnata. Yeah. Paul Hamilton added that Kekalainen said they tried to convince Byram to stay, but he wasn't going to sign here after a year. That's the other thing we're going to hear more and more about, right? Brady Tkachuk, 2 years away, apparently said he wasn't going to sign.
Yeah, Tkachuk was different, though. With Byram, I think it was a case of he was never, ever going to play his way above Rasmus Dahlin on the depth chart.
Well, that's the Nick Ehlers situation, right?
Sure, exactly.
So he wasn't going to re-sign there, and so then you have to make a move. A year out, 2 years out, you do what you can to improve your team. Yeah. It's interesting how the NHL has transitioned to this kind of business. Murray
has this offer of a deal. If the Jets can pull this off, Murray, I would take it in a New York minute. Connor Hellebuyck and Neil Pionk to Buffalo for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Owen Power, Josh Norris, the number 4 draft pick, and Jack Quinn.
I really like Owen Power. So I like that. I need, you know what? I say this. I got my little guy even saying it when they play Buffalo. I love the way Paul Edmonds says Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So if he could come in a deal, I think that would be great to hear Paul Edmonds every night.
Murray, if the Buffalo Sabres would take that deal, I think the Winnipeg Jets would do it in a heartbeat. But that might be just a little too rich. There'd have to be more than Hellebuyck and Pionk, I think, in order to make that one go. Are we in the twilight zone? Lorraine asks. Connor Hellebuyck is our golden boy. This is crazy. That guy is the only thing that keeps those seats filled in the arena. He stands on his head for the Jets. He's amazing all season long. Get better guys around him. He can't do it by himself. And that's the other part of it, too, is if nothing materializes over Connor Hellebuyck or the number 8 pick, the Winnipeg Jets might not be able to fulfill all that you have mentioned, Jim. Second-line center, top 4 defenseman, and another top 6 forward. But they can, I think, improve themselves in the middle of the lineup. And if they could just be a little better in the middle of the lineup, now that involves a second-line center. Or do you see enough improvement from a Morgan Barron that you let him have a go at it? Paul Edmonds and I were talking about this yesterday. With that 8th overall pick, if you don't move it, do you get a chance at Viggo Bjork? And after some seasoning, does he have the ability that everybody has talked about to be a second-line center at the National Hockey League level? It's a lot of heavy lifting, and Braden Yager's another guy that kind of comes into the conversation.
Well, and I've said this before on the show. I'm not disparaging him. I love everything about Morgan Barron, and I love even more how he's developed into the player he's developed into. And I heard you and Paul kicking it around yesterday. I just don't know if Morgan Barron has 65 points in him. I think he's very good at all the other aspects of the game, and I think he might one day score 20 goals and get 45 points. Mm-hmm. But as a second-line center, you've got to produce, and you've got to produce every second or third game. And I just don't know. Now, I could be wrong if he slots in there this year, like Nemestikov did to Paul's point and stuff. Valid. Yeah. I just think you kind of got to fix that in a different way. And what that also does, if you can fix it in a different way, it allows Morgan to continue to develop and be a dominant third, fourth line player. I could see Morgan moving up to the third line this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I see him and Adam Lowry and Alex Iafallo as a real solid third line. Will they be as effective as Lowry, Appleton, and Niederreiter were for that season and a half? I don't know, but I think they'd be a lot more effective than anything that the Jets had last year.
Right.
Tom says the way you guys describe today's NHL. I don't know, Jim. Are you in on my dissertation on that? Where it looks like it's trending towards a Super Six, and then everybody else is just going to be competing for a chance at the dance. Because if you disagree, that's fine. But Tom says the way you guys describe today's NHL, it sounds a lot like baseball, where 4 or 5 teams have a chance to win and control the star players.
Well, it sounds to me a lot like the NBA. Mm-hmm. Where these players are literally dictating where they want to go or the cities they want to be in, or they get bought out or let go and then they sign there, or there's a trade that makes it happen. And let's be honest, that's where these guys are getting this idea, right? Like they're looking at other sports. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk grew up with an NBA star that won an NBA title, Tatum, in Boston. They went to high school together. Yeah. They watch these other sports and they see that's what's going on. But that being said, as a guy who loves sports and reality and the storylines, I think they will. I think it already has. Let's be honest. When players want to go somewhere, there's 5 or 6 teams they want to go. It's Dallas, Vegas, Florida, Tampa Bay. And that's
more than 4.
You know,
Carolina will be on that list.
Carolina's in there too, and if that, I think Anaheim's going to become more of a destination now that they have a playoff team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the way it's going to be. But I love the storylines around any other team stepping up and winning a title. Nobody didn't think when the playoffs started that Colorado wasn't going to win the Stanley Cup. And that's what I love about it.
Carolina was certainly in the conversation. But final text before we have to go to break. Who said a-hole? It was his fault.
Yeah, I did.
It was his fault. I'm pointing at Jim.
Not like Paul Murray said, in the a-hole. Yeah. I said you have holes to fill if you fill a-hole. Yeah. Or many of them. But
keep it PG, Jimmy, is Taylor's advice.
Kids should be in school right now anyway.
Byram goes for pick 4. Crazy what a Morrissey would go for. And I love Morrissey, the player. I still think Utah or Vegas get Connor Hellebuyck, says Taylor. All right, we'll come back. The Winnipeg Jets have
Utah have some...
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they have some cachet to go get them.
It's incredible what's going on around the National Hockey League. Nothing falls into the category of never right now in the NHL. The Jets have updated their alumni roster. We'll talk about that next year on Jets at Noon.
Jets at Noon on 680 CJOB.
And please do remember that you can call the Boston Pizza Hotline anytime, 204-780-6800. Every week we select a call, and that call of the week wins a $50 BP gift certificate. And, of course, you can watch Canada make soccer history at Boston Pizza, score the new MVP platter when you watch the big games on the big screens at BP.
Watch them make history literally today. I believe they will make history today.
Coming up at 2 o'clock against Switzerland. I know we had a texter earlier that was really irate about that, but that's we just report the schedule. He thought it was a little bit of a scandal from FIFA scheduling the games at that time. I guess
Not with FIFA.
why you wouldn't have them in prime time, but that's.
That is actually a fair question.
Yeah, Mexico plays in prime time. But again, when you look at the numbers for that first week, trying to remember, it was 37.5 million. The U.S. had 23. Mexico had something like 13, and Canada had 3. So, the FIFA looks at the numbers. We are the country we are, but as Canada is gaining momentum, certainly the millions will grow. Okay, we have some business to take care of in a second here as far as the Jets alumni roster is concerned. But, Jim, this is a landmark day, not just because 15 years ago Mark Scheifele was selected by the Winnipeg Jets, but fill in the blank years ago, we welcomed into the world happy birthday to you.
Old Mexico.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, no.
Old Mexico.
Happy birthday, Jeffrey Forte.
Big shooter.
Happy birthday to you. Fill in the blank,
And
Forte.
many
Quick.
more.
Fill in the blank.
I don't know. I'm blushing. I don't know what to, I got nothing.
This day. No.
You still
Fill
look
in the blank.
17, so you
this
can
day,
say.
how many years ago?
15?
Come on. You look 15. I'll give you that.
That's fake news.
Do you get carded everywhere?
That's fake news.
I should.
Yeah.
You should. You look young.
Okay, we have business to take care of,
Should
Jim.
we cut a
The,
leg off and count the rings? Or are you going to tell us?
Winnipeg Jets.
35. 35.
35.
Nice.
I knew
Happy
we'd-
birthday,
yeah,
Forte.
I
Well
knew
done.
we'd get it out of you. Congratulates, Forts, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
I know Mama Forte, she'll be making you a nice dinner and an extra big birthday cake because you need that much room for all the candles. All right, the roster update for the 2026 Jets alumni game coming up in October at Canada Life Center. Nick Antropov, first ever goal scorer in Winnipeg Jets 1.0 history.
One of my favorite
2.0 history.
One of my favorite players to interview. Very forthcoming always.
Yeah, Cody Eakin, made in Manitoba. Eric Fair, also Sammy Gagne played his 1,000th career game as a Winnipeg Jet. That was a great ceremony that night.
Yeah.
Tanner Glass, Andrew Ladd, Brian Little. It's going to be so great to see Brian back. Anthony Peluso. Who's he going to drop the gloves with?
Well, on the Oilers, there's the Habs, there's a plethora of options.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike Keane. I think Keener goes Peluso because Peluso starts running around and Keener's like, no.
Didn't Anthony register one of the hardest shots in the skills competition?
I think he did, yeah. He was also, he was like Chris Thorburn, I believe, in the shootout practice.
Yeah.
He was money.
Yeah. And speaking of that, your moneymakers is off the list right now.
He's not on there
He's
yet?
not on the list, no.
Have to
I'm
call
not
the
sure
St.
what
Louis
happened
Blues.
there. Yeah, Matthew Perreault, of course, there'll be sticks and helmets and pads all over the place when Matthew Perreault's on the ice.
A yard sale out of the
Jim Slavin, that was another great Paul Maurice line. Drew Stafford, Timmy Stapleton. Oh, man, talk about great interviews. Paul Stastny and Blake Wheeler. Dustin Byfuglien, Big Buff.
Big Buff.
Grant Klitzum, Toby Enstrom, Ron Hainsey, Derek Meach, and Mark Stewart. Michael Hutchinson, and the one and only must-hear radio on Winnipeg Jet 2.0 post games back in the day, Claude Noel.
Claude Noel. Wear the vest. Have a high school reunion with your players. There'll be a lot of joy in Joyland when Claude's around.
Absolutely.
I wonder if he benches anybody.
Don't forget, you can get your ticket information at winnipegjets.com for the upcoming alumni game. And it'll be interesting to see if Wednesday afternoon and evening can provide an encore for the Tuesday 4.
Yes, that'll be interesting.
You'll be all over that, Jim, and Jim Toth show?
All over on the
From
Jim
1 to
Toth
2?
show from 1 to 2. Coming up, big announcement at City Hall, a retirement.
Oh, there is?
There's another huge announcement going on downtown. Richard Kluche is going to join me live.
Okay.
Hal Anderson's going to stop by with his midweek mashup.
Wow. Talk about a show. Hey, one more time for Jeffrey Forte. Happy birthday to you. I thought you'd for sure have a birthday song planned.
I know his two nicknames are Six Pack and Old Mexico.
There you go. Coming up, the 1 o'clock news with Noah Fuchs, and then Jim Toth just selflessly selflessly promoted his show. But then that's what we're supposed to
Thanks
do.
for listening. Tune in, everybody.
We always like to say thank you for making Jets at Noon part of your day.